Everybody, President Biden is gathering more and more support for the new social spending bill that would help millions of Americans. And despite what people are saying, there are still many Americans receiving a stimulus check. In fact, everybody, the fourth stimulus payments will definitely go out very soon. We're just waiting on President Biden to sign this bill into law.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had vowed that tonight's vote would go on, but she famously refuses to bring a bill to the floor unless she is fairly certain it's going to pass. She spent the day and a large part of tonight trying to get liberal Democrats to support it, but they refused to do so until the Senate passed the president's $3.5 trillion social safety net bill. The two Democrats over in the Senate who have put themselves at the center of this current fight, the aforementioned Manchin and Sinema, aforementioned because their names are used on this broadcast every night, feel that the big social spending bill is too big. They've both been criticized for not coming up with a specific counteroffer. Both senators are again listed as Democrats. Hard to tell how many friends they have left among Democrats in the caucus. Both could end up playing a huge role in hobbling their own president.
Very good for America and would have really focused on true infrastructure, the roads, the bridges, the coastal resiliency, flood mitigation, sewer systems, ferries, transit, the things that we actually need and what Americans pay taxes for. What they're doing is neglecting the things that people actually pay taxes for. National security, public safety, look what they're doing at the border and the defund the police movement. They're neglecting these things that people expect in return for tax dollars, and they're moving down a path of socialism, which is extraordinarily detrimental and will change the course of this country forever.
Speakers say there will be no vote on the infrastructure bill today after their meeting with President Biden. The head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Pramila Jayapal, said the president realized the infrastructure bill is linked to that broader spending package and that progressives realize they will have to come down on that top line $3.5 trillion number. No timetable for when that will happen, but she said that they are getting to work. Guys.
So Elon, where does this leave us? What happens next?
What happens next is many more days of negotiations, Sarah. This is likely going to draw out potentially for weeks or even months as they try to reach an agreement on that bigger spending package. But right now, we understand that the infrastructure bill will not get voted on today, despite many, many assurances from Democratic leadership that they could get this done.
Anyone who's ever been through a legislative fight before or covered it on the Hill knows that the negotiations and the deal making always happens at the end. It doesn't matter how the process works or how many weeks there are, it always happens at the end. We're clearly at the late stages of the process here. This is exactly the moment where people put their bottom lines down, they put their best ideas forward, and there's heavy negotiating. And that's exactly what's happening. And that's why timelines can help make progress.
Now, if you want to stay up to date on the latest stimulus check information, then be sure to stay until the end of this video. Now, the House delayed a vote on a bipartisan infrastructure bill, as President Biden pushed congressional Democrats to forge a consensus on a broader spending deal. And that's as his legislative priorities hung in the balance. Biden went to the Capitol to meet with House Democrats and rally for support for his economic agenda. President Biden was greeted by Nancy Pelosi, and the president spoke to a full Democratic caucus and acknowledged that both stimulus bills must be passed. But do you think that President Biden can get the job done and send out more stimulus payments in time before the end of the year? Tell me what you think, everybody, in the comments below. Now, Pelosi had told centrist Democrats that the chamber would pass the infrastructure plan by Thursday. Democratic leaders pushed the vote as progressives threatened to sink the bill until they get their assurances that the Senate will approve a broader plan to invest in party priorities, including climate policy, household tax credits, and healthcare expansion. Democrats have cited progress after a flurry of talks among White House officials and key members of Congress led into early Friday morning. Pelosi had suggested the infrastructure bill could pass this week, but approval appeared days away as the progressive and centrist flanks of her party stood trillions of dollars apart on the desired price tag for the second spending package. Pelosi also wrote to Democrats on Friday night, While great progress has been made in negotiations to develop a House, Senate, and the White House agreement on the Build Back Better plan, more time is needed to complete this task. Pelosi also said that she expects the infrastructure bill to pass once they have an agreement on the reconciliation bill. And Pramila Jayapal told reporters that President Biden was very clear that the two stimulus bills are tied together, and it would mean that lawmakers are days away from passing either plan. Biden told House Democrats that in order to find a compromise with Central senators, they may have to have an agreement to final bill that range from $1.9 trillion to $2.3 trillion. So the House was in recess Friday as Democrats struggled to strike a deal that would allow them to hold a vote on the infrastructure bill. The chamber later passed a 30-day extension of highway and surface transportation funding programs, which lapsed Thursday as the House failed to approve the infrastructure legislation. Now, as the president and White House officials try to bridge a gulf between the liberal and centrist parts of the party, Jen Psaki told reporters that compromise is necessary, and it's inevitable. So the talks hold enormous stakes for the government benefits that millions of Americans will receive in the coming years. Through their spending package, Biden and top Democrats aim to boost access to child care, paid leave, pre-K, and community college. They hope to speed up green energy adoption and lower the Medicare eligibility age, while expanding coverage to include dental, vision, and hearing benefits. The proposal would mean changes for corporations and the wealthiest Americans, in the form of tax hikes to offset the new spending. Democrats have floated a 26.5% top corporate tax rate and 39.6% high individual rate, both levels below or in line with those set before the 2017 GOP tax cuts. But some of what Democratic leaders bill as transformative gain additional support for the stimulus payments. What are your thoughts on President Biden, folks? Do you believe that he will get the stimulus check information? Do you believe that he will send out the stimulus payments before the end of the year? And who do you think is holding back our stimulus check? Tell me in the comments below. I personally want to see Nancy Pelosi step up to the plate and do her part as Speaker of the House and help out us Americans with more stimulus payments. Because everybody, stimulus checks are definitely necessary. Many Americans are still in need of financial assistance, and a fourth stimulus check must be sent out. And if you guys agree with me, then be sure to keep watching, because I will be going into more information about the fourth stimulus check. And you definitely don't want to miss out on this very important stimulus check news. We got some good news, folks. Pelosi has delayed everybody, the breaking news that Nancy Pelosi has just delayed a vote on the $1 trillion infrastructure bill. But President Biden did sign a short-term spending bill and averted the government shutdown. President Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure plan suffered a significant setback late Thursday, just a couple nights ago, when Nancy Pelosi did not vote for it. Why do you think Nancy Pelosi is doing this, folks? Now, Democratic leaders and supporters of the bill insisted the postponement of Nancy Pelosi not voting for the stimulus check was only a temporary setback. Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, said in a statement, "A great deal of progress has been made this week. So, hopefully Nancy Pelosi can unite the Democrats and send out more stimulus checks before the end of the year." Tell me if you think she would be able to do this, everybody, in the comments below.
Appreciates that we're fighting for the president's agenda. Second, I think, as we've said from the beginning, we have been waiting for an offer to counter the $3.5 trillion that is on the table, and we understand that we're going to have to get every